In today's video, I asked my FPL experts for players you should be looking to avoid in your Game Week 1 drafts. They've come back with 9 players and we're going to review them in today's video. Now, before we go and take a look at any of the players recommended by my experts, I just want to say a massive thank you to you guys for the support you've shown the channel over the course of pre-season. And if you want to continue to help it grow and you are new around here, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Right, we're going to get into the controversial ones to start off with. A lot of people were saying Palmer, Saka and Foden as potential avoids. Now, we'll start with the easy one here. Let's go with Phil Foden. Obviously didn't feature in the Community Shield. I think as well with Pep obviously making some comments around his potential fitness issues as well and not being available for the start of the campaign, for me is a very, very easy avoid in my opinion. I 100% agree with my experts on that one as well. So a very nice, easy avoid. Can tick that one off straight easy. He's not going to be fit. He's not going to be available. So what's the point in selecting him? Yes, City have got some decent fixtures coming up, but if he's not there and not going to be playing in a system that's already heavily rotated, what is the point? So very easy avoid for that one. We'll go next for, I think, probably the second easiest one to explain. It is going to be Cole Palmer. Now, his ownership is ridiculously high, but obviously coming in at a little bit more of an elevated price point this season, 10.5. And as you can see, his goal involvement per 90 last season was an absolute joke. However, if you look at the expected data compared to the others, I am expecting a little bit of a drop off this season. I don't think Chelsea realistically are going to get as many penalties as they did, and I think the start of the season, yes, there's plenty of greens in there, but it's quite a mixed bag. City in the opening game, not great. Wolves, I think, is a decent fixture. Palace, if they continue how they did. Iriola's Bournemouth as well are very, very well set up. West Ham away is not easy, and then we don't know what Brighton are going to be like either, so there's a lot of kind of I'd say undecided teams in there that Chelsea are going to be facing across this run, so not the greatest. And I think when you are paying that more of an elevated price point for these players, they realistically need to offer some sort of captaincy potential. And I think when you are paying that price, the likes of Salah and Haaland look a lot better options. I think we've also gotten Cuckoo merging as a great option at that 6.5 million category and potentially could cover off Cole Palmer and obviously that good Chelsea run that we kind of alluded to being a little bit of a mixed bag. If it is, you know, to be, as the green kind of fixture ticker is suggesting, a good run, then, you know, I think Nkuku could do a satisfactory job than Cole Palmer as well. You take away some of the penalties that he managed to score last season, is he going to be the same player? Probably not, and probably not going to justify that 10.5 million price tag. So again, I can understand why people are avoiding him. Not the greatest fixture in match day 1. I think I'm a little bit more 75-25 with this one rather than the Foden one where I was 100%. But again, I can agree with my experts on this one more than I can disagree. The next one though, I'm going to disagree with them on this one. It is going to be Bukayo Saka. Now, I think the reason I like Saka is some of the home fixtures lodged in this run. The Wolves, Brighton, Leicester and Southampton over the opening 7 game weeks. Probably for me, edge him just back into being a good contender. I know they've got some really difficult fixtures in there as well. Villa away, not easy. Tottenham away and City away. That's some pretty tough games. But if we look at the records in those games, Saka scored against Villa. Saka scored against Tottenham as well at, obviously, their stadium as well. The City game in matchday 5 is realistically probably going to be the 2 title contenders for the season. So you imagine there's going to be a little bit in play at that one. Every single year as well, his levels have continued to improve. And as we can see from his data as well, pretty good going. And again, does have the penalty. So I'm going to disagree with the experts on this one. I'm not going to put Bukayo Saka in the avoid. I actually think he's probably verging a little bit more on the kind of the differential for the premium category. I know he's over 25% owned, but if you can get a player like Bukayo Saka with some strong home fixtures, I'm looking at that Wolves and I'm looking at that Brighton one, especially over the opening 3 game weeks, he could be a huge rank gainer for you and your side, playing for one of the best attacking teams in the country as well. So for me, Foden and Palmer, I completely understand, and I think a lot of people, you know, that do have Palmer maybe should be looking at alternative options. If you've got Phil Foden on your side as well, get him out straight away. Bukayo Saka though, I'm going to disagree. He's in my team, currently in my final draft as well. If you want to go and check that out, there is a link on the channel. But obviously, my team selection video is coming out over the next few days. And let's move on to the next set of selections. Next up is going to be the 2 Arsenal boys, Leandro Trossard and Martinelli. I've seen their names dropped occasionally on Twitter. Nothing kind of prolific, though. But, you know, a few of the experts did recommend avoiding these two. Obviously, you know, if you're looking for some cheap Arsenal coverage, these two might represent that at 7 million. Obviously, I included Leandro Trossard. I think his per 90 data is absolutely redonkulous. And Martinelli has had a pretty standout pre-season as well for Arsenal. But pre-season means absolutely nothing when the games do start to become competitive though. But for me, I'm in 100% agreement. I think there's too much risk and rotation that's worth avoiding these two over the opening couple game weeks as well. I don't think the fixtures, like we just alluded to, there's some definite difficult fixtures over that opening five game week period. And when you can get a player like Eze or the plethora of midfielders we've got at 6.5 or 5.5, I think if you're looking for a bit of cheap Arsenal coverage, I think the money is better spent elsewhere. Sorry, can't get my words out today. Spent elsewhere rather than on these two. So I'm 100% in agreement with this one. I think at times these two could be decent options, but as I'm going to allude to throughout the course of this week as well, I think with your game week 1 draft, it's trying to take as minimal risks as possible. I recommend only probably having one punty player in your entire lineup, because if you've got a few and they all obviously disappoint, that's a lot of work to do. Obviously, prices are quite volatile as well over the opening couple game weeks, so could be in a really difficult position and make you potentially force your hand to use that early wild card as well, which is not always the best strategy to go for because you have limited data to obviously select your players from. So again, I'm in 100% agreement with my experts. I don't think these two should be in your game week 1 drafts. Next up is going to be two goalkeepers that I've seen floating around in a few videos. Obviously, when I've asked you guys for your teams, these two have been appearing. Sam Johnson, for me, we'll start with him. A very easy avoid. It looks like Dean Henderson is going to be the number 1 for Crystal Palace. There are rumours as well that he will be looking for a transfer out of the club. I think Southampton for 10 million is rumoured, and they have a lot of goalkeepers at 4.5. So even if he did move, I still think that's too much of a gamble for me, in my personal opinion. And I can't believe, you know, I think a lot of people probably saw that he played more games than Dean Henderson last year and will probably be clinging on to that, thinking he's going to be the number 1 goalkeeper. He's not, so just obviously don't have him in your team, unless obviously you're going for that double Crystal Palace goalkeeper rotation. But with him being sold as well, you know, probably not worth it in my opinion. So a very easy avoid with Sam Johnson there. And then the other one is Matt Turner. Again, I think probably what most people are doing is they're looking for a 4 million goalkeeper and they're simply just selecting whoever's the most owned or whoever picked up the most points last season in that 4 million range. And obviously Matt Turner is going to appear on that list at some point because he played 17 games, managed to keep 2 clean sheets as well, but he's going to be third choice this year. They've got Miguel, they've got Sells, who are better goalkeepers by a mile over Matt Turner. Obviously, Sells was brought in last season in January to replace Matt Turner and his disappointing performances, and then they've brought in Miguel to obviously deal with their set piece issues that they faced last year. No side conceded more set piece goals than Nottingham Forest last season. So again, for me, Turner's third choice, and what you get in there as well is a 4 million goalkeeper who is quite highly owned. And if a lot of people wildcard early, or maybe just want to take him out when they realise he's not actually going to get anywhere near the first team, his ownership is going to plummet, even by just a couple of percent. That's a price decrease, potentially of 1 to 2 million. And then that leaves you with less money in the bank when you come to wildcard because you've got this goalkeeper that has dropped down to a 3.8 or even a 3.9 million goalkeeper. So what I would recommend is if you are looking for a 4 million goalkeeper, either go for the second choice from the team that you're looking at, or I would recommend going for somebody like Bentley. He saw quite a few minutes and is super low owned as well. Jose Sarr did drop some clangers and had a few injury issues at the back end of last campaign as well. So Bentley for me would be the top 4 million goalkeeper to go for rather than going for Matt Turner. Like I said, with that high ownership, all it takes is a couple of percent to kind of sell him off, and then that's it. He's going to start losing value, and that is going to affect you further down the line with your wildcard. So again, I'm in complete agreement with my experts on these two players as well. Another two avoids to add to the list. And finishing up today's video is going to be our final two players. It is going to be Darwin Núñez and it is going to be Ollie Watkins. So this last section is going to be juicy. Buckle yourself in. We've got a lot to talk about here. First off, let's start with Darwin Núñez. I think this one's probably quite an easy avoid, to be honest. A little bit of a troll last season, as you can see with his underperformance on expected goals. However, 22 goal involvements from 36 games is actually pretty decent. I think the main reason, though, a lot of us will be looking to avoid him is minutes in pre-season have been pretty sparse. The fact as well that I think that Liverpool front three is going to be Diaz, Jota and Salah for the opening game week. That for me feels like the right three, and I think Gakpo and Darwin will slowly be introduced into that side as well. I think as well when Champions League starts to roll around in match day 4, match day 5, that's when we might see a little bit of Darwin Núñez getting potential Premier League minutes. But for the opening few game weeks, definitely a very, very easy avoid. So stay away from him now. And realistically, if he continues this troll trend, stay away from him for the rest of the season. Moving on to the other man. Now, this is going to be a difficult argument to have. I know a lot of people do own Ollie Watkins. I think it's around 49% ownership he's at. Didn't feature in Villa's last pre-season game. Now, I do still expect him to start, and a lot of the lineup predictions as well do have Ollie Watkins starting in that opening game. But I think when we've got Dominic Solanke now moving to Spurs, we've also got Alexander Isak at a mil cheaper. I think for me, those two represent better value to partner with Erling Haaland, or if you're going with the Salah ones, a 6 million forward for me, in my opinion, rather than having Ollie Watkins. I think, yes, this season he might get some penalty goals to add to the list with Douglas Luiz leaving, so that's probably going to bump his goals up a few. But as you can see, a massive overachievement in terms of expected assist and assists for the season as well. So with him playing limited minutes over pre-season, I think as well, him losing some of that kind of impact of assists, his higher price point than both Isak and Dominic Solanke, the opening two fixtures as well, not the easiest on paper. I think I'm in slight agreement with my experts, to be honest. I like Ollie Watkins, and I definitely think he will be in my side at some point. But I think I'm willing to wait maybe up until game week 3 when they face Leicester, Everton, Wolves and Ipswich as a run, and see how him and Villa adapt over the opening 2 game weeks and see what sort of minutes he is getting as well. Remember though, European football is starting to kick off around match day 4 as well. So again, Villa in the Champions League this season will see some rotation within that starting lineup, and we might see Ollie Watkins potentially see some early substitutions further down the line. So you know what? I'm going to agree with both my experts again. I do like Ollie Watkins as a pick. He's probably one of the harshest ones I've agreed with so far. But again, the opening 2 fixtures are a little bit difficult for Aston Villa to call. West Ham away and Arsenal at home. Not the greatest. I know Aston Villa obviously beat Arsenal home and away last season. But with Ollie Watkins not being there at pre-season, limited minutes, not featuring in the last game, I think it's a big doubt. So I'm not going to risk that 9.5 million, or is it 9? I think it's 9 million price tag for Ollie Watkins, especially when we've got Isak and Dominic Solanke in that striker position. Let me know what you think of the players you should be avoiding in today's video down in the comment section. And like I said, if you did enjoy any of the content you see on the channel, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in game week 1.